Hi, I'm Nigel the Shanghai Psychic. I can tune into your loved ones in the spirit world, but I can also tune into you, tell you about your path and the choices that you need to make and need to know. I'm currently giving 30% discount on all Tell Craig Your Story listeners. Just use the code Tell Craig Your Story for 30% off your first psychic reading with me online at Nigel the Shanghai Psychic.
Welcome back to Tell Craig Your Story. Today I'm joined by a truly incredible guest, an artist whose work you've probably seen even if you didn't realise it. He's a UK-based illustrator and art director known for blending the dark, powerful aesthetics of heavy metal with the imagination of science fiction and fantasy. His art has been commissioned by some of the biggest names in music and entertainment. In particular, Metallica, Slipknot, Ozzy Osbourne, Judas Priest, Pearl Jam, just to name a few, as well as video game giants like Gears of War, Doom, and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Described by Kerrang as one of Britain's pre-eminent illustrators, he creates everything from limited edition posters to album artwork and even custom guitars. His unique style, born from a love of comics, sci-fi, and metal, is instantly recognized and loved by fans around the world. It's an absolute honor to welcome to the podcast Luke Preece. But before we go, please go to our website. We're at Podbean. Tell Craig Your Story at podbean.com. We have a link tree there which tells you where Tell Craig Your Story podcast is streaming. We're on all the major streaming services. At Tell Craig Your Story. For our Chinese listeners, we have Bilibili, TikTok, and Red Note. And for our Russian listeners, we have VK. All right, here we go. This is my chat with Luke on Tell Craig Your Story podcast. Tell Craig Your Story. Hi, Luke. How you doing this afternoon? Your time?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, going quite good, thank you. What's been happening recently? I did see that you did the poster for the Ozzy Black Sabbath. Is that the last thing you've done, or are you currently working on something at the moment?
I'm always working on new stuff, but yeah, that was the last kind of big thing that I did. Yeah, it was a kind of a whirlwind of a job, to be honest. It kind of started as a small conversation with Andy Copping, who's the promoter. He's a big promoter here in the UK.
Right.
He puts on the Download Festival, and he does lots of other stuff in the kind of concert scene, I should say. Yeah. But yeah, that one, he worked with Sharon Osbourne on that, and they put that show together, obviously for the whole, to commemorate Sabbath's sort of last show in their hometown. And I live literally 30 minutes away from Villa Park, so I'm local to this area as well.
Right.
So
did you go?
Yeah, we went. Yeah. My wife and I went, met with friends and stuff. But yeah, it was a crazy, it was a cool thing to be part of.
Yeah.
On many levels, I'm a huge Sabbath fan anyway. I'm not a huge football fan, but my entire family follow Aston Villa.
Right.
It's a local team.
Right.
I've been to watch them play to Villa Park as a kid, back in the day, back in the 80s and the 90s. So it's a kind of a combination of things, I think, that were kind of really personal to me.
Two worlds colliding, right?
Yeah, so it was just all those things were kind of collided. And then it kind of just started out as this conversation with Andy, and then Sharon was like, kind of, yeah, let's do it. I donated the artwork to help the charities and raise money.
That's fantastic.
Which was a nice thing to do. And yeah, great. It's crazy. I would say to date, it's my most sought after poster now.
Yeah.
It's topped some of the Metallica work that I've done previously.
Yeah, right.
I don't know why that is. I think it was kind of, didn't somebody describe, I don't know who it was, but I'm sure someone said that they described it as kind of like a heavy metal live aid or something.
Yeah, Yeah, well, it
Yeah,
was, to be fair, wasn't it? Yeah. And it
yeah.
wasn't
So
just Ozzy and Sabbath fans, it was heavy metal fans in general, like heavy metal,
mhm.
rock and roll. Everyone was there to see that last show. So, how is Sharon Osbourne, by the way? Was she always nice to, negotiate with?
I didn't really deal with her directly because Andy
Okay.
did all that for on my behalf. But she gave feedback on the work that I was doing, so I'd put a rough concept, and I'd send that through to Andy, and then Andy would then share that with her, and then he would sort of put me in an email, and I could see the feedback she was giving. But she was great. She was very positive. She made some suggestions. It was her idea to have the hand kind of coming forward in the artwork.
Oh,
Originally,
yeah,
he had
right.
like a original the sort of kind of Grim Reaper figure was holding like a Bible or like a kind of it was kind of like just a big kind of tome kind of book. It was meant to be sort of a bit kind of witchcrafty kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And then he had like his sort of staff, and then she said, lose the book and have the hand pointing forward. So we did that. And then we also had at the foot of the poster, it's got Villa Park, the actual grounds.
Oh, yes.
But originally that was a church, a burning church originally.
Oh,
And Sharon said, no burning
no.
churches, which is which is which is understandable. So yeah, it
Yes.
turned out good. But yeah, they were Sharon and Andy were both great to work with.
Yeah, that's great.
It was
And
an absolute honor.
yeah, and tell me about, well, the recent passing, maybe 2 and a bit weeks after that show. So, what did Ozzy mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, he's a kind of local legend, isn't he?
Yes.
For because where I live, and I think there are members of his family that live around this area as well. So it's sort of, it was a big thing because it's growing up. I mean, my parents were listening to like Led Zeppelin and Sabbath and stuff because they're all bands that are sort of local to this area. Um,
Yes.
and obviously just because they're huge, successful bands. So there's a lot of history there. If I'm honest, the first thing when I heard of Ozzy's passing, it was just shock, really. I mean, I know
Mm.
he wasn't well, and it made the whole everything that we'd worked on just made it even more. I think I was
Yes.
just kind of getting over being at Back to the Beginning because that was such a huge event on many levels, seeing so many different acts performing and band members like performing with each other. You just wouldn't see like Steven Tyler and Chad Smith from the Chili Peppers and Travis
Yes.
Barker and Ronnie Wood and all these people on stage together. So I was just on a come down from that. It was quite an emotional day. And seeing Sabbath and knowing it was their last performance and seeing Ozzy and knowing it was his last performance. It was, I'm not going to lie, I shed a tear or two towards the
Yeah,
end
of
of the
course.
day. Like my wife and I both did. It was a big thing.
Yeah.
Um, and then we just sort of got over that. And then, once we heard that Ozzy had passed a couple of weeks later, yeah, it was really sad.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's a huge loss, and there'll never be another Ozzy Osbourne.
Exactly.
I
That's the
can't, I
thing.
can't think of anybody like him.
No. No, there's
And
not.
I think we were all very lucky, I think, to be around when he was making music.
And you did some work with him previously before that, right?
Sure, yeah. So I did. I worked with Jimmy Hubbard at Revolver magazine
Right.
um, on a piece, and then prior to that, I worked with Metal Hammer magazine here in the UK
Right.
on another Aussie piece, and that piece was actually I'll get it for you. It's here.
Yeah.
It's hung on my wall. So this one was the one that I did for Metal Hammer. It's
Nice.
actually, and you can see it's signed by Ozzy there as well.
Oh,
I
that's
don't know
so
if you can.
cool. What was his reaction when he saw this?
Who? What? Ozzy?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't. It's
Oh, he
not
didn't
like you
see.
get to
Oh,
kind of
right.
work.
Okay.
No. You kind of work with people that are around them. You don't really kind of get to. It's very rare. I've
Yeah.
met a few heroes along the way, but Ozzy is someone that I didn't actually get to meet.
Well, speaking of heroes, I see some pictures there that you met Pantera. What was that experience like? And you've done some work with them as
Um,
well.
yeah, that was cool. That was a kind of a crazy thing because the way I'd done some work for Pantera, I did a commemorative poster for their last ever show with Dimebag before they broke up. It's in Tokyo, I think it was. So I did that piece of artwork, and they loved it so much that they turned it into like a stage animation. So if you go and see Pantera live now, you'll see my artwork being animated on stage behind them.
Right.
So that was cool. But then coincidentally, Charlie, who plays drums with Pantera now, obviously from Anthrax, he messaged me online via Instagram because he loves my Jaws artwork that I'd done because he's a huge Jaws fan.
Yes.
So I was like, oh, cool. Glad you like. And I was like, coincidentally, I've already done some work for Pantera. And he was like, oh, no way. I didn't realize that was you that had done that as well. So I sent him a couple of prints out. And then as a thanks, he said, oh, let's meet up at the Birmingham show. So yeah, they kind of sorted me with like a little after show pass and met up with the guys there. That was cool. Got to meet Zach Wild too and Phil and Rex. And so that was pretty cool. And, you know, I grew up listening to that stuff. When I was like a 12-year-old kid, I was listening to those early Pantera albums. So it was, it's kind of weird when you meet your heroes. It's kind of like they're just normal people. They just play in bands. Yeah, they're always just like regular dudes, you know.
What did you think of the show? And did you see Pantera when the brothers were still alive?
I didn't see them when they were alive because we were me and a buddy of mine were going to go and see him in 1996, I think it was. And it just so happened that date fell on the same night we were going to see Incubus.
Oh, priorities.
So we already had tickets for Incubus, and it was on the same night. So we just went, we'll go see him next time. And of course, there was never going to be a next time. So
yeah,
that was, you know, and then seeing them now, it's amazing to hear those songs live again.
That sounds so good.
It's never going to be. It's never going to be the same because Dime and Vinny obviously are performing with the band, but it's still amazing. You know what those guys have done to like learn all the parts. Like Charlie's drumming is just like
fantastic.
It's amazing. It's absolutely spot on to like what you hear on the records and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I've seen them 3 times now on this run. I saw them at Download a couple of years ago. Again, that was Charlie sorting me out with passes, and then recently on the arena run in the UK.
Right. Yeah, I think they're getting better and better. They're sounding great. Like, I think they're getting into a groove now. So I saw them with Dimebag on their last tour in Australia, in Sydney, and to be honest, it wasn't the best show that I've ever seen live because Phil was so off his face. I think he sung 2 songs on like lying down on the stage singing.
Right.
They were saying it was his back, and you could see that it was coming to an end. It was just But Dimebag Darrell, just watching him play, he was just incredible. Just being able to watch him just do his thing and just never miss a beat. Yeah. Drinking like a fish, but never missed a beat.
Sorry, you carry on.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say there'll never be another Dimebag. You know, he's another one that's kind of like those kind of like lightning in a bottle kind of people. I think they don't happen again, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Tragic what happened. But yeah, I'm so glad that they're back doing it, and all the younger kids getting an opportunity to sort of see what Pantera is all about. So yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
All right, Luke, let's go back where you were born. So I do believe you're from West Midlands in the UK. Well, you said Aston Villa, right?
I'm about kind of 30 to 40 minutes drive outside of Birmingham, which is where Aston Villa's, where the ground is. So I'm in Worcestershire, which is like a county just within in the West Midlands.
Okay. And tell me what it was like growing up there as a kid, because they always get confused. And every time I see Black Sabbath interviews, they say Birmingham's like a really gritty, tough,
Birmingham
sort of city. So is that the same as where you are?
No, I'm just outside, like in the countryside.
Right.
Yeah, so I did live in Birmingham for a few years, like when I first moved out of home and I like kind of left my parents, and I enjoyed going out in Birmingham and like going to like different rock bars and stuff like that and going to gigs and stuff with all my buddies. But it made me realize as I kind of got older that I just like the quiet. I just like the
Yeah.
quiet. I like the countryside. I like the quiet. So that's kind of the environment I grew up in. So I was born in 1980. Grew up in
So
a small village.
So when did you start doing illustrations? And it says here that you were fond of looking at these album covers. I would
Yeah,
assume they'd be records. And me too. I wasn't doing
yeah,
illustrations, but I was fascinated by the Kiss albums
yeah.
and AC/DC and like my all my dad's albums. So what were some of yours that sort of stuck in your head?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd say like all the Metallica back catalog. Like
Oh yes.
I got into Metallica on the Black album would be when I got into them because that album came out when I was about 11 years old. So I was like the perfect age, just kind of getting into rock and metal and stuff. But then I went back and listened to all Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, all that kind of stuff. And then it was bands like Pantera, Faith No More, so like Angel Dust was like
Oh,
a big album for me growing up. I loved that
love
record.
love Faith
Yeah,
No More.
yeah. Saw them like several times. Who else? Skid Row, like love Skid Row.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, Pantera, a bit of AC/DC. Yeah, Sabbath, Zeppelin. But then like also, like David Bowie was played a lot
Yeah.
in our house growing up. Michael Jackson, like the Thriller album, all that kind of stuff. Loved all that as a kid. Album covers would be like I always loved like Megadeth, Rust in Peace. I just loved the
Oh
artwork for that
yes.
album. Chaos AD, Sepultura, like
Nice.
that Michael Whalen art. Yeah, all that good stuff. And then that's kind of like where I think that stuff sank in. Like so it was like a combination of the music and the visuals, like the artwork.
Yes.
Uh, I'm very passionate about the art that goes with the music, which I feel like we
Yes.
kind of lost it for a bit, and I feel like it's kind of come back again in a big way through gig posters. Yeah, that was definitely a thing. And then outside of music, it would have been like movies that I was watching at the time, like all the old
Yes.
Star Wars films and kids cartoons like Thundercats and
Yeah.
Turtles and Transformers, all that kind of 80s stuff. Yeah, like movies would be like RoboCop, Terminator films,
Nice.
all the Aliens movies. I've been recently
Mm.
watching Alien Earth, and I'm really enjoying that on Disney. So yeah, it's all that kind of 80s, 90s kind of pop culture.
So when did you start doing illustration? Obviously, you do that in primary school or at school.
Well, I think like most kids would say, I always say this, but like most kids are drawing at a young age, and
Mm.
I think there was I was always into drawing, just being creative in general, because it was always drawing pictures or painting like Warhammer figures,
Right.
or yeah, or like playing guitar as well. But I think I can remember my mom told me a story of she came in to pick me up from school. I would have been like primary school, so I'd have been about 6 or 7 years old, maybe something like that. And
Yeah.
the teacher pulled her aside when she came to collect me, and we'd had an art class that afternoon or something, and I'd drawn like a picture of a astronaut floating in space or something like that. And she pulled my mum aside and said, "I think your son's got a gift for drawing," sort of thing. So I was like, "Oh." My mum was like, "Okay," and then she just sort of encouraged it, I think, from a young age to just said, do some painting, do some drawing whenever I was bored. And because I grew up in the middle of nowhere, all I had was like my tapes and CDs that I'd listen to because that was my
Right.
escape from like fields. There was literally just like fields in a local pub. So that was my kind of escape, I guess. It was just like
Yeah.
drawing away and making noise in my bedroom. So I think that's kind of when it started.
So you said you were playing music as well?
Yeah. So I started playing guitar from about the age of 11, something like that. Had lessons for about 5 years.
Yeah.
Then like played in bands as you do, like as you get into like a teenager, just like, yeah, I'm going to be in like a really big band and all this sort of stuff. Probably played in bands till I was about 25 years old. And then I just
Okay.
kind of like stopped one day because realized that it's really hard to make
Yes.
money from playing in a band. But I had a backup plan, which was the art side of things. So
Okay.
that kind of started to sort of gradually kind of work out and became a career essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. And were you designing your own guitar at that stage, or was that something later on?
No, no, I did do a job recently, is that what you're referring to? I did a job
Yeah,
recently.
yeah. I've
Yeah,
seen a
I'm
couple of
doing,
guitars, and you've painted them by yourself.
yeah, yeah. So that was a project with Xbox on the new Doom game. But no, I wasn't playing guitars. I was into skateboarding as well, so I was probably drawing all over skateboards maybe back then. But yeah,
Right. Did you do art in university?
I did go to art college in Birmingham, but I probably shouldn't say it, but I dropped out of art college because, which is probably, I don't recommend that, kids, if you're listening. I studied A-level art and art history in sixth form, which is like in the UK, sixth form is like you do your kind of normal like education, like your GCSEs, and then when you finish your GCSEs at the age of like 15 or 16 or whatever it is, you can then choose to stay on at school and do an extra couple of years and do A level. So I did that. And then when I'd finished that, I then went to Bourneville Art College and did a foundation in art. But a lot of the stuff they were teaching us, I'd already learned at A level. I was kind of getting a little bit
Right.
bored. It was like one of those things where I'm like, I've kind of already done this. Like,
Yes.
you know, let's study like Turner and Constable or the painters, but I'd already done that. So it was like
Right.
I'm just relearning all this stuff again. So I was just getting a little bit like bored of what I was doing and a bit frustrated. And then through like a family friend, I got like a junior role as a graphic designer, and that's kind of how I started. So that would have been like 1998. I was 18
Okay.
years old, and someone just kind of said, "Hey, here's a scanner. Here's an old Macintosh computer. Well, back then it wasn't an old Mac; it was like one of the newer ones.
Yes.
Scan all this stuff in and put them into a product catalog. It was like really boring, but it taught me how to use like Photoshop, Quark Express, and
Ah.
all this kind of like graphic design software that I kind of just learned it off on the job from like more of like a senior designer that was working at this agency.
Right.
Um, that's kind of how I got started, I guess, after college in
And
actually doing work. It was like, this is the pen tool in Photoshop. You can cut a thing out after you've scanned it in on the scanner. It was just stuff like that. Or clicking with a mouse, the Mac, I think it was like just like the old Power PC Apple Macs with like a zip drive in the front of it. It's like a G3 or something. I can't remember. It's
right.
like one of those things. It's like that sort of rectangular thing on its side
Yes.
with the sort of stripy Apple logo on the front of it. And then I kind of liked that side. I liked that you could create these things on a computer. So I'd gone from like drawing with pencils and painting things, then realizing, oh, actually I can lay things out and, understanding how typography works. And so that kind of all that stuff came before the illustration as a job, because back then the idea of being an artist full time, drawing silly pictures, like just wasn't really a thing. The
Yeah.
internet wasn't a big thing back then. You couldn't like promote yourself online and get work that way. It was, you know, that was kind of the safe option, I think.
Right.
Just let's just do graphic design, and it seems interesting and it's kind of creative. And
Yeah.
whilst I'm doing that, I can maybe play in my band on the weekend. That was kind of
There you
that was
go.
the kind of other creative outlet.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was always someone that had to be like making stuff. Otherwise, I
Yes.
kind of felt like I was going a bit mad, or I just wasn't built for like standard like 9 to 5 office job, if you know what I mean. And that's
Yes.
fine if that's what I just couldn't do it because I just felt like I'd almost feel like just like depressed because I just wasn't like I had this need to just like make noise on a guitar or draw a picture.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's been a
So
constant since I was a kid.
when was it the band started coming into it and going, "Hey, we really like your style of art."
Yeah, so I played obviously in my own bands, and some
Yes.
of those bands kind of started to get a little bit like I say bigger. We weren't like big bands, but we were playing. We were going back and forth to London a lot and just like traveling around and dealing with kind of music industry folk a little bit. And we did like an EP, and so I was doing the art for those things for my own band. Whilst doing that, this would have been like early 2000s, like 2001, something like that. And I was working still as a graphic designer, but I was working in Oxford for a publisher, and that publisher is 2000 AD Comics, who they're home to Judge Dredd. So I was kind of working there, and through that, I was dealing with a lot of I was seeing a lot of amazing illustration work, like comic book illustration work, and all these amazing stories that have come through 2000 AD. And that kind of got me into drawing again. I kind of fell in love with drawing again and kind of started using a Cintiq, a Wacom Cintiq, to draw on. Actually, no, it wasn't a Cintiq at the time. It was an Intuos tablet, just like the tiny little tablet you sit on your desk and you kind of look at the screen and draw on the table, if you know what I mean.
Right.
And I was doing that, and then I just started doing like my own kind of like band, like fan art for myself, just like these kind of crappy illustrations for like, oh, I love Faith No More. I'm going to draw a Faith No More picture, you know, that sort of stuff. And then I just have like this little blog, and I just post them onto my blog online as like a little thing I'd done. And I didn't really have any followers or anything. It was just like a fun thing to do for myself. Just again, just venting this kind of need to make things. And then I don't know how it happened, but then I kind of got a job working with, like, the first one I did officially was for Glenn Danzig.
Right. Okay.
For his music festival, Blackest of the Black, if
Yeah.
you know that festival. So the first thing they asked me to do was like, can you do the logo for the Blackest of the Black? So I designed the Blackest of the Black logo, which I think they still use today. I look at it now and it's probably terrible, but it was the best I could do at the time.
Yeah.
I did this kind of poster of like a sort of witch character. Again, it's probably pretty terrible, but Danzig liked it. Again, it was the best I could do. I was just kind of learning, probably naively, oh, I can do this, and I had this opportunity. If you always do that. You kind of look back on the old stuff you do, and you just think, I could have done it better. Like if I did it now, it would be better. Did that, and then it just kind of like from there, it went to like I did like a Deep Purple and Alice Cooper did like a co-headline tour thing together. I think I did something for that, and then I ended up doing like a few movie posters for some galleries in LA off the back of that stuff. So it just sort of started to sort of gradually, like it was like tiny little wins, just kind of kept happening. You do one thing, and then that would lead on to another thing, and then that would lead on to another thing. And then whilst that was going on, Instagram was becoming like this bigger kind of thing for artists at the same time. So I was just posting my work on there. And then through that, you just there are obviously like galleries and things out there that are just looking for artists. And then people approach you, or, you know, that's kind of how it sort of started, really.
Fantastic. And where does Metallica come into all this? 'Cause I want to show you my shirt. So
there it is.
Go.
Yeah.
That's your design.
That image is everywhere at the moment. It's like the main image for the tour and all sorts. It's crazy.
I saw photos on your Instagram where you were saying you were really proud and happy. They have the pop-up stores before, during, and after the shows, and all your artwork's a part of that as well.
Yeah. So like every city Metallica play in, they set up this kind of pop-up store. I think it's there for like a week, isn't it, in each city?
Yes.
Yeah, that week that they're playing, they have this place you can go as a fan, and you can go and get the shirts and the records and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that shirt that you're wearing, that's kind of it ended up being kind of the main key art for all the pop-up stores. So I think they've used that piece, and then there's the back print with all the skulls at the top.
Oh, yes.
On the back. So they use that it's like all the window graphics on the front of the pop-up stores. So that was wild. Just as a kid, you just don't think that's going to be a thing. It's like all this stuff is a complete happy accident. It's just like you just keep following those little wins, and there's a lot of failure along the way, but the little wins are the ones that you remember, and it kind of just leads to bigger things, I guess.
And you've seen him on this tour, this M72 tour?
Yeah, I've seen him a few times on this tour, yeah. So yeah, we got, my wife and I saw them, I think it was a couple of years ago now, at Donington. They did the two nights. So it was great. They kind of looked after us. We got snake pit passes, and so we watched them from right in the middle. And the snake pit was a really small snake pit for that show, because it wasn't the normal, the big donut that everyone calls it. They play in at the
triangle one, wasn't it?
Yeah, in the round. It's like just the regular kind of like Donington stage with the little sort of snake pit at the front. So it was like a smaller snake pit. So yeah, the Hetfield was like literally like stood next to me for the entire show. I've got his pick. He flew. I caught his pick, and little fan in me was like, yeah, he got his pick. So that was
Come
cool.
on.
But yeah, that's mad. The Metallica stuff just kind of came about through me again when Instagram was good. I did like a Q&A on Instagram. I think by then I built a little bit of a following from my other work, and someone that already done some work with Metallica essentially messaged me and said, you should do some Metallica stuff.
Because I see every photo and video that you've got on there, Squindo's there liking your thing, so you've got a good relationship with him?
I don't know him at all, but I think
there you go.
a lot of the Metallica, we all know each other's work.
Right.
And there's a really kind of positive kind of community. It's not always like that. I'll just say that with other artists. Some are a bit like, we're all a bit odd, I think, maybe. But for the most part, all the Metallica people, all the guys that I know that do the Metallica artwork, we're all very supportive of each other.
Yes.
Which is quite nice. It's a really good, like the whole Metallica vibe as a whole. Like if you're a fan, if it's like the actual band themselves, or like the people that work with them, if it's the artists, it's just it is like the whole, like Hetfield says, the Metallica family. Like it is, like it extends to all of us people making the artwork as well, like myself and all the other amazing artists. I've made friends through it, like Mick Cassidy, like we've kind of become buddies. I love that guy. We haven't met, but we speak all the time. He's a great dude. So yeah, it's really cool.
Let's go through this. What is it talking about here when it says intricate line work?
Yeah, it's probably referring to, so all my kind of black inking is very detailed, I guess. A lot of sort of hatch work and just detailed line work that you build up. It kind of comes from screen printing, because everything I do, well, the majority of work that I do is screen printed. And with screen printing, you tend to work with a minimal color. Well, I work with a minimal color palette. It kind of comes from like, I guess like old school gig posters, like skateboard artwork, that kind of thing. So you normally have like all your colors are layered. So if you say you've got 6 colors, then the black line art seals everything in on top at the end. And then I always make that, the black art line art tends to be very sort of refined and detailed. And so it's kind of like come about because of, I find it nice to look at because it's kind of stuff that I'm just into.
Yes.
But then equally it kind of serves a purpose with printing as well.
Right. What's the difference between doing artwork for a live band and doing, say, like a movie or a gaming, for example?
So if you're working with a band, so the biggest difference between any of these would be band stuff tends to be a bit more free for the most part. Like if it's a gig poster, you're normally like free to just kind of do what you want to do, like within reason, as long as it's nothing like massively offensive. But if there are don'ts, then the band will like say, we don't like, I don't know, whatever it might be. We don't like skulls or whatever. So if that's the case, you probably come into the wrong person. Yeah. So, but like with regards to video games and movies, like normally those things, they have like visuals in place. So you have to kind of follow that. Like I think a good example of that would be, I did a Jurassic Park poster with Universal a few years ago. And the way I'd actually drawn the Velociraptors was not massively different from the movie, but I'd just kind of done my own spin on it. And they just kept pushing back until it essentially like just became the raptor that you actually see in the movie. So which I can understand because they, it's their IP, it's their thing. Yes. But I'll always try and kind of like make it my own if I can in some way. I don't, I'm not like a massive fan of just kind of like with the movie stuff, just like taking an image and just tracing over it. Cause I just think it's just a bit like that's already there. Like,
yes.
Like I'd rather like, it happens sometimes if you're like doing like actor likenesses and stuff, you have to adhere to an actor's likeness, which is fair enough. But if
Yeah.
it's like a monster or a creature, like I did Jaws, again, did Jaws with Universal, and I just drew Jaws how I imagine Jaws to be.
Right.
Not I did. It probably isn't like identical to what he is in the film, but that
Yes.
was intentional. It's just
Yeah.
like I'm just going to draw a big scary shark, and they pushed back on a few things. Like there were, I don't know, it was like the fin needs to be bigger or
Okay.
something else, a couple of things, but the actual face of my shark is quite different to the face in the movie. So it depends who you work with. I think it depends. Sometimes it depends. I think if the people that are doing the approvals are having a good or a bad day as well,
Yes.
maybe, you know. So I think
Is that
some people
frustrating for
are,
you, but Luke?
yeah,
Like,
sometimes, yeah,
yeah.
sometimes it is frustrating because you always do like you'll always do a rough version first, which is
Yes.
a very loose interpretation of what you want it to be. And once they approve that, you can then go and sort of start rendering it. I tend to like do a kind of a rough idea for myself that I don't show to the client, just like a thumbnail sketch, just for myself to see that it works. Okay. Then I'll do like a somewhere like in between the two, like a or not final, but the shapes and the proportions and things are kind of as I imagine them to be. Send that as the rough to the client. You know, some people will just draw like a really like almost like stick man kind of level of like rough, oh, something like this. The logo will go here, and here's kind of where the main focus will be, the monster in the film or whatever, or the video game or whatever that might be. And then when they go to like finally render it, they spend weeks or whatever putting this piece of artwork together. They just push back and go, oh, you've completely drawn the creature wrong, or that actor doesn't look right. So I'd rather
Right.
sort of send them something which is kind of not finished, but it's like, because some people say to me when I send a rough through, oh, this almost looks finished. I'm like, no, no, this is not finished. This is just like the kind of midway point. That's kind of how I tend to do it. But in answer to your question, music stuff tends to be easier with approvals. Movie and video game stuff, there's a lot more cooks, should we say, that
Yes.
like to get involved.
Right.
Normally, lots of like big marketing teams and things like that have a say in how their IP is marketed.
All
So
right.
it's just and the like with like Metallica stuff, for example. Um, Sometimes they'll come to me and say, "We want you to do," like I did the Metallica Fortnite project, which I've got here.
Yeah. Show us.
Um, so this was the art we did for Metallica Fortnite.
Nice.
And this came from Epic Games gave me the brief for this. So it didn't actually come from Metallica. It was like, we like the
Right.
Metallica, we like the Metallica work you've done. We want you to do some Metallica work for the Fortnite Metallica game or whatever. But the art director from Epic Games came to me with a clear idea of I want a big skull coming out of the clouds. And it was originally done for a loading screen for the game, like an in-game
Okay.
loading screen when you're playing the
Yeah.
game. And then they liked it so much they said, "Oh, we're gonna put out a vinyl soundtrack,"
Wow.
and it got repurposed for that. But yeah, this brief came through kind of. We know what we want it to be, but normally if Metallica come to me, they'll just say, "Just do your thing, just
Okay.
do it." So it
And
varies.
with the music side of it and with creating art for bands and music, you said, is it like Metallica where they're just going, hey, here it is, go for it?
Yeah, Metallica. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Metallica. The Metallica stuff obviously doesn't come from the band themselves. It comes from the team that work with the band on like all the
Martin.
merchandise.
Right.
But
Merchant.
I've built up such a good relationship with those guys now that it's like they just say, "Luke, it's the load anniversary. Can you do the art for?" Which I did until it sleeps,
Very
and I
cool.
did, and I just pitched a night, and it's literally that. There's no like it has to be this figure doing this thing and blah, blah, there's none of that. It's just go and make it. And then I listen to the song. I kind of remind myself of the lyrics. I watch the music video for that song. So I really liked the video to that song. So I kind of took inspiration from the visuals in the music video for that one.
Can you remember when that music video come out?
95, I think
Yeah,
it was.
95, 96. That was so weird because I hadn't seen pictures of them. previously with their haircuts, and then all of a
Yeah,
sudden, until It Sleep comes out, they're wearing makeup and eyeliner and all their haircuts, and I was like, oh my God, what is this? They're wearing leather pants and
yeah, it was. They were having their U2 moment, I think.
yeah,
It was a. I'll be honest. That period, I wasn't a huge fan of it.
yes,
There are songs. There are songs on those records that I really love, and they sound amazing live. Like they play.
yes,
They play when they've been playing Until It Sleeps a lot again,
yes.
and that song's such a great track. And that's the reason why I chose that song, because when we were doing this, doing this celebration of that era, that was the one that I just said, can I have that song? Because that's the one that I remember buying the single. The day it came out with the kind of Rorschach test sort of artwork,
Yes.
and thinking, I don't know how I feel about this. It kind of sounds, but like when it kicks in heavy, it's cool. It's got that sort of loud and quiet
Up and
dynamic to
down.
the
Yeah,
song,
yeah, yeah.
which works great. But I think it was more like the production. It had lost the guitars had like kind of lost that really kind of gritty, heavy kind of thrash sound,
Yeah.
which they'd still retained on the Black Album, I think. That really
Yes.
heavy kind of crunchy like Hetfield sound,
Crunch.
which
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, which had gone. It kind of felt like there was this, you could hear that kind of blues tone in the guitar sounds.
Mm, definitely.
Um, yeah.
It's just a period of time, isn't it? Like they did the Load albums and then it was the Symphony and then it was Saint Anger so they just got all through these different stages and then they've come out of it just like, whoa, this is back to how it used to be, right?
How do you what do you like what how do you feel about the latest stuff? Like the last couple about like
Oh
Hardwired and
yeah. Oh,
yeah.
I'm actually shocked that they're still playing this sort of style of music. And it's going to be interesting to see whether they go back to like a more rock style because of their age and how they're going to continue, especially Lars with like playing the double kick and playing for 2 hours. It's an
Mhm.
interesting question.
Well, I
I
saw them
like
again
it.
at
Because they come out with that Luxa Turner, and I was like, oh
Mhm.
my God, they gotta Lars is gonna play this every night.
Yeah, it had a very like it felt like a kind of like Kill 'Em All, some like kind of Kill 'Em
Yes.
All sort of vibe, some of the songs, but like obviously with like kind of modern production. I'd be interested to see what they do with the next record. I kind of feel like I'd be happy if they put out like a kind of Black Album too,
Yes. Yeah.
something that's just very straight and heavy, and like just got those kind of like those kind of songs with that kind of similar kind of sound.
Yes.
But I don't think it'll happen, to be honest.
Well, I don't think they're gonna do that. The guitar sound of the Load era, that's for sure. I think that's was just an experiment that they wanted to do, but somebody told me that they don't use amplifiers live anymore. Is that true? Or is that just a
I think a
myth?
lot. No, I think a lot of bands now. I mean, I don't know, but a lot of bands
Mm.
use this like these kind of like, is it the quad cortex? I think it's called a lot used. It's
Yeah.
like this box essentially that you can like mimic guitar sounds and room sounds, and you can essentially like mimic the sound of your guitar from a record or something like that.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I don't know whether Metallica could do that, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
I feel like when I saw them, I feel like when I saw them at Download the one year, James had a stack on stage, like he had an amp on stage with
Mm.
him. So I don't know whether like, and he was going over to it and like cranking it up. So
Oh,
I might be wrong. I don't know if he just has it for like for stage, just so he
yeah,
can kind
right.
of hear. But I don't know if they like run it through two things or what. But the sound in the snake pit sounded amazing because they obviously put speakers in the sound in the
Oh, yeah.
snake pit as well, so you get the full like kind of PA sound coming into there as well.
Yeah,
It feels like you're in
absolutely.
like your own little private gig
Yeah, that's right.
because it's like about 100 people. Well, the one that I was in was about maybe 100 to 200 people in there, something like that. It felt
Yeah.
like, and it was just yeah, just like it felt like you're in this tiny little club show, but then you kind of look over the top behind you, and there's just like 80,000 people going off into the distance. Yeah.
And they're coming to Australia in November, so we're looking forward to that. I mean, They haven't been to Australia for 12 or 13 years. So, yeah, the Australian fans are chomping at the bit. So there's going to be some pretty intense mosh pits, I think, down there.
Yeah, yeah, cool. Yeah, I think I might. I'm pretty sure I've got a new merch design coming for that tour.
Oh, very cool.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay. And are you and speaking of the tour, are you going next year? I'm assuming they're coming to
Yeah,
your
so
hometown.
I'm gonna go to the London show.
Okay.
Um, so that's the plan because I've got friends that live in London, so I'm just gonna stay at theirs for a couple of days, and we're all gonna go down. So
Fantastic.
yeah, hopefully we'll get some guest treatment, which will be nice. So it'll be good.
Fantastic.
I'll never get bored of seeing Metallica live. I've been watching them live since I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And I saw them obviously back to the beginning they played, and it was like these guys are like in their 60s and they still absolutely
Yeah.
like sound amazing live. Like
Yeah.
when they came on, it was just amazing.
Yeah. They know how to put on
So
a good show. Yeah, and that's why the fans keep coming back. Do people come up to you, like family and friends, and go, "Why do you keep going back to see him? It's going to be the same songs."
oh no, not at all. No,
No? Okay.
no,
You're
no,
lucky.
no. Oh, do you get that? Is that
Oh,
what you get?
yes. Yes.
Oh, interesting. Okay, they just don't understand.
Yeah, they don't understand. That's right.
No, they don't. Yeah.
Switching topics, talking about the DC comics. So I read reading up about you that you're a big fan of comic books growing up. Tell us how you got involved with Marvel and DC Comics.
So I wouldn't say I really read a lot of DC and Marvel comics growing up. I love Spider-Man,
Okay.
the old Spider-Man comics, and I've done some work on with those license well, with those published. So I did it's more on the movie side of stuff. So I did
Right.
the Blackout, so the Black Adam
Oh, yes.
film that came out with the Rock in it.
The Rock.
I
Yeah.
did, yeah. So I did the soundtrack artwork for that. It's normally through like it's done through like galleries. That was done in Mondo, if you know who Mondo are. You know
Okay.
Mondo, the gallery. Yeah, so I did that with them, and I did. I think I did a Thor piece. I mean, this is like years ago now, but I don't tend to like do a lot of that stuff. If I'm honest, I'm a bit burnt out on all the kind of superhero film things that are out
Yes,
there.
I would
Like,
agree.
there's certain things that come out and you're like, that's a good one. Like,
Mm.
it was quite a slow film, but I did enjoy the Batman film, the last Batman movie.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
like
Batman,
all the kind of,
Superman, you know.
I went to see the new Superman film with my kids the other day. They loved it. It's like mental, crazy. It's not the
Yes.
typical Superman film. Yeah, but like, for me growing up, comic stuff was always 2000 AD. That was always the stuff that I loved. All the kind of
Right.
UK comics. And outside of that would have been like the Beano and Dandy and yeah, a lot of the kind of British stuff. And I liked Batman, like the old story. For me, I wouldn't really read them that much. I'd just look at the pictures and just be like, this is cool to look at. You
Yeah.
know, I've recently been reading some of the old Turtles comics
Oh, there
in
you
my
go.
spare time as well.
Okay.
So that's fun. What else did I liked the real Ghostbusters as well, like
Oh,
the
yes.
cartoon series. They did the comics of that. So I used to read that as a kid as well. But yeah, like actually working in comics, the stuff that I've worked in more recently has been the stuff I just mentioned. The like
Yes.
it's more on the movie side rather than
Right.
the actual comics. And then I've done a few covers for 2000 AD. So I've did like a Judge Death cover a couple of years ago and some other Dread related things. But yeah, most of my work nowadays tends to be music related with the odd
That's
sort of film bits and bobs. And I've been working with the guys at Mutant. If you've heard of
oh, yes.
Mutant, it's the ex Mondo guys, um,
Nice.
and they're just friends that I've worked with for a few years, and they've been coming to me, and I've been doing the odd kind of cool thing for them. I've just done Turbo Kid. Did you see Turbo
Oh,
Kid?
yes.
The film?
Yes.
Yeah, so I did the Turbo Kid soundtrack to the video game, which was a really fun one
Oh,
to do.
very
Just really
cool.
different. I quite like to do
Yeah.
these sort of niche, like cool sort of little movies. That's fun to do sometimes as well. And we're doing some other stuff at the moment, which I'm not allowed to talk about. But
Do you have a
but yeah,
preference?
I think for me, the stuff that I like to do the most is the stuff that I just find fun to draw and I'm really into because I think I just
Yeah.
produce the best work that way. If it's something I'm not overly into, then I just think I just don't care about it as much. And also the other thing, it's the people. Like it sounds really cheesy to say it, but I really like working with the people that I like working with.
Yeah.
So when I do I work on Gears of War a lot, which I haven't spoken about at all. But that video game franchise, I've been working with that team for such a long time now. And there's a few people that I work with there that we've been working together for such a long time. They're like my mates now. So we're just sort of
Right.
friends who just get to we just like we've got this cool thing to make, and then I get excited and they're excited. And those are the projects that I like really working on. And it's like the Metallica stuff. I've built up a really good relationship with the team there. And sometimes we just phone each other to just have a chat for like an hour, just talk
That's
about
cool.
what we did at the weekend and
Yeah.
stuff that we're into, stuff that we're watching, and then that normally leads on to like, oh, do you want to draw a picture for this thing that we're doing for Metallica? And I'm like, yeah, come on, might as well. So it's kind of like I've always been very much the people that I'm working with. That's I think that's kind of almost number one a little bit, like
Okay.
because you work with a lot of people. I've worked with a lot of people, I should say, where I haven't gotten on very well with those people, and
Can
we've
you give me an
jarred a little bit.
example?
I'm not mentioning names, no, but it's normally like just certain
That's okay. That's okay. I was
no, so
joking.
it's normally like certain people that are just trying to be too hand-holdy with stuff and they won't
Right.
let us kind of get on with it.
Yes.
Um it's and sometimes you just like you have a deadline to meet, you have so much time to put something together, and then the job just turns into a bit of a like it just stops being fun because you're just like, I've got to get this, got to meet the deadline. And you've been through so many rounds, you just start to kind of like lose interest in the thing that you're making. You don't even like see it for what it is anymore. You don't even see it for like a piece of art anymore.
Yeah.
It's rare that happens. And if those people come back to me and ask me for more stuff, I tend to just say, I'm busy doing other stuff
Absolutely.
because, which is true as well. So
Yes. All right, let's get into some cliche questions. What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
I wouldn't say it's necessarily advice, but my wife was very much when I sort of really started to kind of like wanting to do this as a full-time thing. Because, we've got kids, I've got a family, we've got like two
Yes.
girls and they were like babies at the time. I was like, I really want to make this like a career. And she was very just kind of like, just do it. Like, just do it.
Yeah.
So I think it's like having those
Motivation.
people around you that are kind of like, going, go for it sort of.
Yes.
If you haven't got that, it's just easy to just go, oh, I'll just go and get like a regular like 9 to 5
Nine to
job,
five.
like working in a pub or a factory or whatever it might
Yeah.
be.
Was there
Um,
ever a time where you were thinking about that?
I've done all the jobs. Like I've
Yeah.
done like, I've worked in bars, I've worked in factories. I used to collect chicken eggs when I was about 12.
Yeah, right.
I've done like all the shitty jobs, but yeah. Uh, you know, and then it was just kind of like, and there's been a lot of failure along the way as well. I think that people just don't
Yes.
see because people
Mm.
just think you just got up one day and went, oh, I'm going to do this as a job. And you just made it happen. No, no, it's like 25 years of like absolutely working your ass off and maybe
Yes.
like one in 20 things work out. And now I kind of feel like even now I do have like times where I'm like, it's a bit quiet. I'm like, oh, the work's going to dry up. I'm going to have to go and get like a regular job again. But something always turns up and it's fine,
That's
So
great.
I find that the way I work now is very, I think I still have that attitude of like, I don't think I've made it. If that's what I'm trying to say,
Yes.
I always think there's something bigger and better. I'm always thinking about the next 10 things I'm going to do.
Right.
whilst I'm working on like a really cool piece for like Metallica or something. I'm thinking
That's
like, oh, I haven't done this yet and I haven't done that yet. So I still feel I've got that like hunger and desire to kind of still push and just keep going with, because I love what I do and I feel very fortunate to be able to do it every day.
absolutely well said. What is the best piece that you've designed? And it doesn't have to be the most successful one, but what's one that you go back all the time and say, yeah, this was cool.
So I think I normally say like the latest thing that I've done because it's like that's my new favorite thing because I've just finished it. There are certain pieces of artwork that I look back on and kind of go, yeah, that was a cool thing. I'm really proud of like all the Gears of War stuff I did with Xbox.
Right.
That's up there. Obviously, the Metallica work. Yeah, I'm super proud of the shirt that you're wearing now. That's that and like the Injustice for All artwork that I did for them.
It so sticks out when you're at the concert too. Like everyone's wearing just black, and then this one's got the bright colors, and yeah, it's definitely stands out.
That's up there. I did Blink 182. I did some stuff for Blink 182. I was just like really
Oh,
pleased with the
very cool.
concept on that one. There's a Foo Fighters piece that I did
Oh
for
yes,
their Manchester show that kind of
and
did
you
really
did Pearl
well. And
Jam. Did I see you did Pearl Jam as well?
I've done a
Yeah, I'm
couple
a
of
big
Pearl
fan.
Jam ones. Yeah,
Yeah, big fan of Pearl Jam.
yeah, did a couple of Pearl Jam ones. Sleep Token. It's been nice to do stuff for like newer, more contemporary bands.
Oh yes.
Because a lot of gig posters tend to be like for these kind of like big like legacy bands.
Right.
So sometimes it's nice to do stuff for newer bands, that are kind of.
Can independent bands can they approach you? I mean, will they be able to afford you, or is it out of their budget?
Well, it's probably like I do get approached by bands like all the time, and it's normally like whether I'm into what I have to like really be into the thing.
Right.
So that's not a no. But then the other thing is like I'm kind of working like 6 months out most of the time as
Right.
well. So that normally people come to me and go, "Oh, can you do my album cover?" And I've got like £100 and I need it next week. And I'm just like, no, no. And normally that's just like they're just naive and thinking that, well, A, that's like what people pay for artwork.
Yes.
Um, and B, that I can just drop everything and do it now. It's like,
Mm.
if I don't know you and I've never heard of you, I'll probably say no,
Okay.
unless I'm really into the thing that you're doing, and you've
Got it.
got and you've got a decent budget as well.
Yes. Okay.
Quite frankly, because I just, this is my
Yeah, of
job at the end of
course.
the day. I've
Yes.
got a mortgage to pay and I've got a
Yes.
family and stuff. So if I've got like, some decent paid work for a really cool band or a really cool TV show or whatever it is, I'm gonna take that because it's a balancing act.
Of course. Yes.
And you still get like jobs for bands, let's say, that come in and they've got no money.
Oh
So you
wow.
like, and well, they've got like a very like they've got
Small budget.
a small budget, and
Yeah.
sometimes it depends what the thing is. Like if it's just for a t-shirt or it's for an album, or there's a big difference in that. You
Got
know,
it.
am I going to get prints? Are these prints going to sell? Do people know the band? If I get prints
Yes.
as part payment, I know I can make money back later on the artwork. Like again, a piece of artwork for Metallica, I know I can make the money back on the artwork because I sell the prints. Whereas if it's a band that no one's ever heard of, I'm not going to make any money on the prints
That's
because
right.
I'm just banking on the fact that people are going to buy it because they like the artwork. But
Absolutely.
the reality is, people buy it because they like the band
Yes. Yes.
and they go, "Oh, and the art's pretty cool too." Maybe,
There you go.
yeah.
What about if you were to go back in time and see a 13 or 14-year-old Luke? What advice would you give him?
Do you know what? I don't think I'd actually change anything that I've done. I think I've always tried to do stuff that was kind of creative and that I was into. I think to a
Yes.
certain extent, my parents were always very much like, if you want stuff in life, you've got to like work for it. You've got to put the effort in, sort of attitude. They were kind of,
Yes.
they didn't care what I did as long as I actually kind of put the effort in. There's no like one fast way of doing stuff. If you want to do something you're really into, you've got to put the work in, and you've got to fail a lot, which I did do all of those things. So I don't think there's much I'd really sort of change about what I've done and what advice. The main bit of advice I'd give anyone is just be a nice person and don't be a dick to people.
Yes.
Because
So true.
you meet so many people that like just being kind and being
Yeah.
approachable goes a
Yeah.
long way.
Yeah,
If
absolutely. I
if
totally agree with that, Luke.
you meet people that are really talented, but they're very like there's a little bit of arrogance there, and they're very standoffish, and
Yes.
just like no one wants to work with these people. Like it doesn't matter
Exactly.
how good you are. Like
Exactly.
eventually, that's just going to catch up with you. So I've always tried to be, you know, approachable and nice to people.
Yeah.
I think that goes a long way.
Exactly. Well said. Social medias, Luke, where can we find you for our international listeners?
So Instagram, Facebook. I don't really do Twitter. I'm on Twitter, but I don't really do it. So it's at Luke Preece Art, all one word, obviously. And then just lukepreece.com.
Great.
So
All
for my
right.
website. So yeah.
Okay, last bit. I want you to give me your top two or three favorite things of all time. I'll give you some topics and you just tell me as of today. So the first topic is music. I want you to tell me your top two or three favorite bands or artists of all time as of today.
Oh gosh, that is like really hard because I listen to so much stuff. I'm going to try and pick different genres if I can, because I think everyone just
Okay.
thinks I listen to heavy metal all the time, and that's not.
Okay.
I work on a lot of heavy metal stuff, but it's got to be Black Sabbath. They're definitely like up there. I've always listened to that band.
Okay.
Like I think them and Metallica, like since I was a kid, so they're definitely up there.
What are your top three favorite bands that you've worked with?
Okay, well that's Black Sabbath,
Yes.
Metallica,
Yes.
and oh god, Sleep Token.
Oh, there you go. What
Yeah,
about top three favorite live shows that you've been to?
back to the beginning. I would say it's probably one of the best concerts I've ever been
It's hard to
to.
beat.
Yeah, and then Metallica at Donington. You said noticing a theme here. It's like Black Sabbath, Metallica, and then I would say like another show that I can remember that was amazing as a long time ago. So I said back to the beginning at Villa Park, Metallica Donington a couple of years ago when they did the 2 nights. That was amazing. Probably the best I've ever seen Metallica, for many reasons. And then seeing the Prodigy play Phoenix Festival in 1990.
Oh,
I think it was 1996, and
wow.
Firestarter the single had just come out. So it was like
Right.
it was at the end of the Jill Generation era of Prodigy,
Deep Prodigy.
and yeah, that show I remember it's just burnt into my mind. It's like they were so heavy for a dance
Yeah.
band, and I remember being like a 16-year-old kid with like really long hair and just like going to metal gigs and seeing the Prodigy and just being like, this is like I've never witnessed like dance music like this before live, like so heavy and like you wanted to mosh to it.
Yeah.
And I remember just like being really confused. You wanted to dance, but you also wanted to just like get in a circle pit and go crazy at the same time. So yeah, the Prodigy, that concert, 1990, I think it was 96. I need to Google it.
There you go.
Oh right, okay. Now this is 1996. Sorry, I was just confirming.
Oh, yeah,
I
okay.
think you can find the whole concert, that Prodigy gig, on YouTube. It's the
Oh,
whole thing's on
fantastic.
there. Just type in Prodigy Phoenix Festival 1996 and you'll find the gig. It was amazing.
The question was your top two or three favorite albums and or album covers.
Okay. Well, the first one's easy because it's KSAD. by Sepultura.
Classic. Yeah.
I mean, come
Yeah.
on.
Say
Like
no more.
everything about that album was just perfect.
Yes.
There's not a bad song on the record. There was nobody like Sepultura at the time when that record came out. They had their own thing going on. A lot of people say Roots, but for me it's Chaos AD because I got into them on the
Agreed.
Arise record. I got into them on
Yeah.
the Arise record, and that was like the Arise record was still quite thrashy, but then they kind of Chaos AD, they just kind of everything just became like this kind of groove, kind of tribal thing. That combined with the cover art by Michael Whalen, it's just amazing. So that's up there. It's got the next one's going to be a Metallica record,
Okay.
but it's really with Metallica, like it's always like one of the first 5 albums
Yes.
for me, and I always have this. It's either Justice for All or Master of Puppets or Ride the Lightning. It's between those sort of 3.
Yes.
Would I say they're the best album covers ever? Probably not, but they're definitely. I'm gonna say Ride the Lightning because that album's the one that when I was a teenager, I obsessed over that record and I obsessed over trying to learn all the guitar parts.
Right.
I bought like the guitar tab book and everything. I probably drew that album cover in my school books as a kid, like the chair and the logo and everything. We all drew the Metallica logo in our books at school,
Yes.
like you know, or scrawled it on our bags or whatever. That's up there, and then third one would be probably I'm going to say Megadeth, Rust in Peace.
Classic.
Again, an amazing album,
Oh.
and the artwork is just amazing.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
I'd say
Totally agree.
that's my 3. There are so many others that records that I love. I love. There's an Irish band called Curb Dog. I loved them when I was a kid, and still love them now. Like I love the records. They're just one of those bands that I think were so influential in the early '90s. They don't really kind of get enough credit. They were signed to Vertigo as well, which is like Metallica's label and Sabbath's label.
Oh yeah, right.
They're an Irish 3-piece band.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely check them out. I'm always
singing
their praises. Yeah, so I'd say like probably the most accessible album of theirs would be the second album, which is On the Turn. Okay. But yeah, people are like, there are some people that kind of say like, I've heard of them, but the majority of people they haven't heard of them, and I'm always like really surprised. A band like Biffy Clyro would not exist without Curb Dog.
There you go.
So same producer, songwriting's very like similar, kind of grungy but like riffy as well and melodic. Yeah. They're a really good band. And then I'm gonna have another one. I know I'm not allowed to, but I'm gonna have one more. Paradise Lost, Draconian Times.
Oh,
amazing album and amazing artwork as well. But it's all like photography. Like it's called photography.
Do you think that's a lost? Do you think that's a lost art form? With the records, it used to be look at the cover first, sometimes, and then turn around and say, "Wow, this is a cool cover. I need to listen to this." Do you think that's gone away?
I think it's coming back.
Yeah,
I think it's definitely coming back, and I think because the way like the music industry is now, it's not like it was when we were kids, where you'd go to your local record shop or whatever, and you'd be like flicking through to like which one's got the coolest cover because I'm just going to go and buy that one. I used to buy albums like that all the time. I just buy them for the cover art, and then get home and it'd be terrible. But then 1 in 10 might be amazing.
There you
Especially with like metal bands. Whereas now, obviously, everyone's just like listening on Spotify and stuff.
Yeah, just stream it.
To get those clicks, like you kind of need the cool artwork that's like this big on a thumbnail. Now it's kind of the world we live in, where it's like, does it look good on a photo to make you want to click it?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I mean, I'm guessing that's how it works now, but like, I don't think it's gone away. I think it's just done differently because everything's digital now. So
yes,
it's sort of, I think it's done in such, like I said, done in such a way, like, does it work small as a thumbnail on someone's iPad or iPhone or whatever?
Yes. Give me your top
Hmm.
two or three favorite movies of all time.
Okay. Number one, because it gave me nightmares forever, and I just weirdly now am obsessed with it. Aliens.
Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah, that film like terrified me when I was a kid, but I absolutely love it. It's like I never get tired of watching that film. If I had to pick, probably Terminator 2 out of the Terminator films is definitely up
Oh,
there.
me too.
Yeah, it had it all. Like that was just like this is like the perfect film. Probably obvious and predictable, but
Jaws?
RoboCop.
Oh,
I was
Rebecca.
gonna say
Okay.
I was gonna say Jaws, but I think RoboCop
Okay.
is up there, the first film.
Excellent.
It's just like the stuff I was into as a kid, basically.
Yeah, 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 yeah. All right. What about destinations? Give me your top two or three places that you've been to, and then two or three places that you want to go to in the future. City or country is okay.
Because I'm a country kid, anywhere in the Cotswolds in the UK. I know like I'm from the UK, and I probably shouldn't say that because it's cool to say another country, but like I like the countryside. Like like the Lake District is beautiful as well, like which is up north, but like anywhere in the Cotswolds is like lovely. Like if you like a nice cozy pub and some good walks. We have a
Mm.
dog, so we like to like take our dog on long walks and stuff, and then just end up in a nice country pub. So and it's not even about the weather. Like I don't care if it's raining. Like I just enjoy that. Other countries like when I've been to California, I really enjoy
Oh yes.
California in the US. Um, we've got friends that live in Carlsbad, like which is just like north of San Diego. So I really like Carlsbad. I think that's a cool place. Just
Nice.
like I've recently just been to the south of Portugal, which was really nice.
Oh, very nice.
Really nice food and drink there, and just like the weather's really nice. But I'd probably say like a Sorrento in Italy. That's really beautiful. If you've ever been there,
Oh,
yeah, that's a
not to
nice.
not to
That's nice.
Sorrento. I've been to Italy, but not to Sorrento.
Yeah, it's like the Amalfi Coast, so it's just lovely around
Nice.
there. Yeah, Australia. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I've not been, so that's somewhere I'd quite like to go. So if you've got any recommends of like places I'd like to, I like being in the I like the countryside and
oh,
stuff.
plenty of
So
countryside.
yeah,
It's you get out of the
yeah,
big cities, and yeah, it's very beautiful. Yeah, we've got
yeah.
some great beaches, and yeah, so come down in
Amazing.
November with Metallica. We've got AC/DC, we've got Lenny Kravitz, we've got Oasis, so they're all coming down for the summer.
Amazing. There's probably some other places in America I'd like to go. Like I haven't done like anywhere like Japan.
Oh,
Like Japan appeals to me, although my wife's not overly keen, so I
beautiful.
have to kind of persuade her. And like some more of like the kind of
Trust me,
rural
she'll
parts
love it.
of China as well. Like we've some of that looks really cool.
If you ever come to Shanghai, just give me a bell.
Yeah, okay, that's good to know.
And the last one, Luke, who's your greatest inspirational hero and why?
Oh man, I don't think I'd say there's any one person, to be honest. I think it's more of like a collection of stuff that I've mentioned previously.
Mm.
Like Hetfield's up there definitely as a person. I think he's like in many ways you could say he's flawed, but then most like geniuses I think are like you know yeah, I think he's a very inspirational person to me growing up. Um, so yeah, let's just say Hetfield.
He's had his highs and lows, but yeah, he's
He's
come
just
through it,
he's human. He's only
and
human.
he's
But yeah,
looking so fit. And I don't know if it was just Denver because that's where he lives now, but he was so happy on stage. And when
yeah,
James Hetfield's happy, Metallica are at their best. You know,
yeah, 100%.
he was just on fire that show. All right, Luke, thank you very much for your time. Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
you're an inspiration to a lot of the artists. Keep doing what you're doing, and if I ever run into you, I still haven't decided if I'm coming to the UK yet for Metallica. If I do, I'll definitely give you a shout out, and we'll have a
Oh
beer.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you're around, just send me a message and we'll meet up.
Hi, I'm Tony Fair, founder of Victorian Grooming Company. Is your beard feeling dry or the skin underneath itchy? Maybe you'd rather soften and tame your beard instead. Our classic collection of beard oils, balms, and soaps will leave your beard looking, feeling, and smelling amazing. And if you prefer shaving, our pre-shave oils and shave soaps will give you a smooth and razor burn-free shave. Handmade in Edmonton with natural ingredients. Visit victoriangrooming.com.